So how have the rehearsals been going?
Uh, Life is sometimes in the way of rock and roll, because people have the jobs and they have the wives and the kids, and so we're not really managing to be the four of us on rehearsals all the time, but we do the best we can.
Yeah, that's all
But
you can do.
we we kind of did pre-production a long time ago. I mean, we learned some of the new stuff like in the summer.
Mhm.
And we were doing a big project in September that we played a lot of the music. We played this sort of movie score thing in a cinema here. So
Yeah,
we're doing okay. Yeah. We'll be fine.
very busy, but very exciting things coming, sounds like. One thing I found when I was doing a little bit of like back research on you guys is that you're almost 30 years around.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, how does that feel for you? That's a huge chunk of your life. There's a lot of life changes that tend to go along with that. So I'm curious, how do you feel about the band lasting this long, and like how have you kind of changed over time? How have you adapted?
Uh, I mean, it's kind of weird. It's you don't think about this in the beginning, of course, but this just becomes sort of part of life, and now it's just. I mean, what am I? 40? Am I 47? I think I'm 47. 40. I think I'm 47. So it means like I've been in this band since I was like 17. So it's kind of weird not being in it. But it's yeah. I don't really think about it. It just feels like it's always been there. So it's 30 years. But we, we didn't really start touring and tour Europe like until 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I mean, this whole, making albums and go touring, that's only like 15 years old. Oh, only 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like, the second half. I mean, the first half was very different. I mean, we were, doing the demos and just staying in Iceland and doing one-on-one show. But now the last 15 years have been a lot of things have happened the last 15 years. Yeah.
What do you think will happen in the next 15 years?
Uh, we'll make life is getting calmer and calmer. Very good. Tours are getting better and better. So that's good. And we'll have more time touring in 15 years because our kids will be grown up.
Oh, well, that'll be good.
Yeah, so in 15 years, I look forward to 15 years from now. Yeah, it's going to be great.
That's amazing. Your new album that's just coming out, I had a chance to listen to it, and
What do you
it,
think?
it brings up a lot of feelings, I'll say that.
Okay.
So I wrote down a few words that kind of I think were accurate to how I was feeling about it, and the words were haunting, atmospheric, dark, and even desolate, because there are like those black metal riffs in there, but there's kind of the atmospheric post-rock sound in that. And there was something about your music that makes me like feel very viscerally alone in an open space. And I don't know if that's to do with like the different sonic elements that you use in your music to make you feel like you're in a big open space in Iceland or something. But I'm curious if that's kind of
Yeah.
the type of thing that you were hoping that your listeners would feel, or what were you kind of hoping people would take away?
If I were to rate these words of yours, I would give you 10 out of 10.
Not bad. Just a
You
better.
know, large soundscape, yeah. Desolation. This, yeah. I mean, this is all stuff that I relate to, and we relate to, and you sort of mentioned before, and so I think you got it pretty right. I mean, if you would have said something that I almost haven't said myself, I would tell you, but this is a pretty. I have to agree with everything you said. So I think yeah.
Did you have those feelings yourself when you were recording this?
No, I mean, recording this was a lot of fun. Before it was not fun. I mean, I hate writing albums. It really, it's very boring to write albums. I love recording them. Just as long as it's not crazy stress, because it's time and money. But
Of course, yeah.
But we took like 18 months to write this. So like from the beginning of 12, and we recorded it in May 2023.
Mhm.
Not 12 then yes, 12. It's weird, this 12, 13, 24. So we had 18 months to write it, and we recorded it in May last year. We went to a very fancy studio. It's like American-owned tape studio, brand new shit that some rich hotel chain owns in the middle of nowhere in a fjord in the north of Iceland. So it felt like we were in a hipster studio in Los Angeles. But we were in a very desolate fjord with mountains all over, a lot of birds and ravens, and the ocean was like 10 feet away from the studio, and there was like a lake, there was a sauna, there was a jacuzzi, there was a cleaning maid from the hotel that came to the studio. We had like white Axl Rose bathrobes, walking in it. We would swim in the sea in the midnight, freezing cold Atlantic. So it was lovely recording this album. It cost a lot of money, but
oh yeah,
no two bands spend a lot of fucking time on your album. Who gives a fuck in the end? We spent loads of money on albums. I've never thought, oh, we should have kept that $1,000 there. No, so it was totally worth it. But then, like I said, with AIDS and more kids and stuff, more responsibilities, and you sort of prioritize differently in life. You can't really put a price on it. Being 4 guys for 8 days in a fancy studio like this in the middle of nowhere, waking up at 8, you're starting to work right away, and you work till midnight for 8 days in a row. It's super creative environment, away from picking up the kid. The wife is sick. My boss just called me. Push that away. So it's totally worth it. Yeah.
That's amazing. And it sounds like you were in a very inspiring place, considering like you have that atmospheric sound. So I don't know. I don't have a concrete idea with that, but it just sounds like the environment must have put a lot of influence in the writing of the music itself.
Yeah, being there did affect it a lot. And then, being inspired is such a wide thing. I could have done something 6 years ago, and I was standing somewhere in awe. But did it inspire me? Yes. Did it make some really weird things to my brain? I enjoyed this a lot. Yeah, but am I going to write a different riff after it? No, but it affected me. So if you get millions of these things, being in awe somewhere, you're constantly in awe over something beautiful, great, or good, or cool, spiritual, it's going to change you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this was just one of the things, being there. Like, oh my God, this was amazing. But it cost a lot of money. So there was the only down thing, that because we had to be quick. But it was great.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. And I wanted to ask you too about the lyrics, because in some of your past interviews, you mentioned that they're very personal to you.
Yeah.
So were there specific experiences or that you had or specific inspirations that made their way into the lyrical themes?
No, we decided to write about American politics this time. No, I'm kidding.
There'd be a lot to say about that.
No, yeah. you know, we're not inventing the wheel here when it comes to writing lyrics. We are usually writing about love and death of love, love of nature, desolation in nature, despair in desolation, anxiety in despair, depression and anxiety, too much anxiety, the cause of anxiety, drug addiction, rehabs, alcoholism, suicidal behavior of others, suicidal behavior of you, guilt. So yeah, they're all the fun topics we deal with.
Very fun topics, not dark at all.
No, all the good stuff. We like to keep the good stuff, Angela.
Yeah. But it's I think it's important and cathartic for people to hear music like that. And I find I don't really know how it works. I guess it's in the sound itself, but you sing in Icelandic and you have so many fans and listeners who do not know any Icelandic, but I feel like for example, in one of your music videos, Hunandar, that one was very visceral, like in terms of what you could see the person in the video doing, like she was stuck in place, trying to run and not being able to get anywhere and things like that. And it had clear themes around like mental health and other things. So I find it interesting that these videos paired with this music can kind of transcend language in a way.
I think oh, got a little bit of goosebumps when you say this. I think that's very accurate. Like I've said before, I think the lyrics, it's kind of like a bonus material. It's the emotion. The vocals are like an instrument, and they are delivered with emotion. And even if the lyrics would be bullshit, you would feel something. I mean, you can get, you can go into, you can hear some monks chanting, 1,000-year-old chants. You'll get goosebumps. You have no idea what they're singing about. But it's the human voice that does marvelous things to you. You can get goosebumps, you can cry, just from frequencies from the human voice.
Absolutely.
So me singing in Icelandic, Spanish, or English, it doesn't really matter. But I am Icelandic, so I prefer to sing in my mother tongue in a non-filtered expression. So it's more direct. So I could try to sing in Spanish, but I would be constantly thinking, oh my God, this is wrong on the accent. But I sing in Icelandic. It's very non-filtered expression.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think that's very important to stick with your language, because language is very connected to how we're feeling. And then if you're not singing in your own language, then it's just much harder to communicate. Like sometimes you can, but like there's probably vocabulary in Icelandic too that wouldn't translate directly to English or Spanish, for example.
I mean, there is. I mean, of course, when people ask me to translate, I'm like, no, because it would take me a lot of time to even try to do it accurately, and I'm not a patient guy. I don't have time. But I also have this problem because sometimes I feel like we are Pink Floyd, and sometimes I feel like we are AC/DC. You know, I'm talking about music-wise, because when I'm in the sort of the Pink Floyd mode, I love the whole Icelandic. You know, it's Icelandic. It's exotic language, and I'm in my own mother tongue, delays and reverbs. And then when I feel like I'm in AC/DC, I kind of miss the English, because rock and roll English is like the rock and roll language. And there's a lot of rock and roll in our band. We're not Pink Floyd, we're not AC/DC, but we have a lot of atmospheric stuff, but there's a lot of rock and roll as well. So I had this sort of schizo dilemma of sometimes missing, singing rock and roll. But this is the first world problem. I can live with it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Were there any like new musical influences that you incorporated in this new album that were not there before?
I'm gonna say no. So I'm trying to think the whole album. I mean, the first song, no. I mean, that's just Fields of the Nephilim, early U2, The Mission, Thin Lizzy. So I'm just telling you all the secrets here. Song 2, I mean, that's more like some black metal stuff, and we've done that before. And Black Rock is more like, I guess, some Motorhead in it, and then 4 is more like Pink Floyd again. Then we have more like a rock. So no, there's nothing new. There's no band or music type that we discovered. Oh my God, there's a new form of music down in Brazil. We have to, drink it up.
Yep, we have to sound like that.
No, it's nothing. I mean, this is just heavy metal and British new wave bands with Norwegian black metal bands. Or, I mean, there's saxophone in one song that we've done that before.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing on this album is more soft than we've done before. Nothing on this album is more heavy than we've done before.
Yeah.
So basically, I'm telling you, there's nothing new about this album.
And yet there's still something different about it, I guess. I
Exactly.
don't know,
Yeah.
Like a different proportion of different elements that you've used before. I'm not really sure what it is, but
Yeah, that's the beauty, man. Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing. And something I find distinct about your music is that I don't know, I think black metal elements work very well with the post-rock type elements and rock and roll things that you're using in it. And I feel like it's a mix of different moods. Like, I wouldn't say upbeat, but like black metal is obviously very dark, melancholic, and has these more morbid visuals associated with the genre, not necessarily with your music itself, but with post-rock, it's more I guess they share an atmosphere, right? Because both of those types of music have an atmospheric quality to them, but they have like different moods at the same time. I'm not sure if I'm making sense, but post-rock seems to have
because
your playful type of mood. That might not be the right way to describe it, but does that make sense?
Probably. I was having this talk with my friend Stefan from Alcest. I mean, we've often been described sort of in the same genre, but not really. But and I was saying there's a lot of, we're sort of talking about it. There's a lot of rock and roll in Sólstafir, but there's no rock and roll in Alcest. But there's also a lot of new wave or Joy Division, the Smashing Pumpkins, or even black metal in the middle. But you're right. Post-rock, I'm more like into, I don't know if I like the word post-rock, but I'm weird. But it's more like we are so influenced by the British goth bands. That came really early on. I mean, the whole Fields of the Nephilim, The Mission, and Sisters of Mercy, and all that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's also this sort of dark thing, very melodic. And, I think even bands like Immortal were listening to these bands, you can hear it. And then, of course, you have the black metal, and we were sort of there when this wave of black metal was being born. So, yeah. So, but we never wanted to play just black metal. We never wanted to play just. We always something different. I mean, always had to be like, how would Ennio Morricone be mixed with black metal? How would Neil Young be mixed with black metal? It has to be
an interesting vision in my mind that comes up with that.
Yeah, so if it's Joy Division, Neil Young, and Morricone, Duran Duran mixed with Immortal or Dark Throne or Impaled Nazarene, or so you're always trying, because I can't do typical stuff in this band. It's death. Sorry, and I don't like death. except the band deaths, but yeah, so.
Have you ever experimented with any styles that didn't make their way on the album? Like you tried to incorporate maybe something else that might have been influential?
No, I mean, I don't think. I mean, we've done banjo and we've done saxophone. We've done reggae.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, but we hide this thing. I mean, there's one song that we have, and has a reggae beat in it. And during concerts, we would tell Hallgrim, "Hey man, go for it!" And he would be like playing total like Bob Marley's drum fills, and you're like, "Yeah." So I don't listen to reggae at home at all. I even don't find reggae that fun in general, but. Being able to put reggae beat in our music and getting away with it. Same with the banjo. I mean, I say the word banjo and you'll start to laugh. Ha 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 ha, banjo, it's so funny. Ha, ha, ha. That's the spirit about the banjo. But when you hear it in our song, you're not actually gonna laugh. It's kind of like a sad banjo. Same with the reggae thing. So if you come up with an idea and it sounds ridiculous, we're like, okay, we have to try that. It has to be, it has to be a kind of ridiculous idea. So we'll try it.
I think there's a lot of beauty in that, like just combining different things that you may not have imagined before fitting in there, but then somehow a banjo fits in your music because it just has a place within the music that you're writing. So
yeah, that's something about country. I mean, so we've been doing that for a long time, fitting in some country music. Country music is a huge term, and of course today it's more thought of as some extremely famous people in America playing modern commercial pop country music. But I love Townsend Sant and some country music. But in the big picture, I'm not a country fan. I love some of them, but it's such a huge term. But so putting country into the music is like, really? Are we really doing that? But then we tried it. It's like, oh my God, sounds amazing. So yeah,
sometimes it just works.
Exactly.
I guess what I was kind of hoping to ask was about your recent video, Black Rocky. Sorry if I can't pronounce that correctly.
It's perfect.
I found that was a super interesting video, especially when we're seeing a lot of green screen videos in the genre these days, like the kind of artificial 3D generated.
Yeah, we would never do such thing.
I don't know, I was curious, like, how did that video shoot go? Because that must have taken a lot of preparation to like be able to perform and not fall off the back of the truck.
And that's the thing. No, we didn't really prepare it. I mean, we borrowed this. Our friend who was driving us had this small trailer from his snowmobiles. And we just got gear and we just strapped guitar caps and the bass drum on there and said, well, if someone's going to fall down, just...
If it happens, it happens.
Yeah, basically. And, we didn't get police... we didn't get permission for this because, we're just going to drive outside of town. But then we thought it would be kind of cool because the weather was superb. So we thought, how about we go downtown, drive in the heart of the city? Because we had done so cool footage driving around the countryside. So I did call the police and say, I know this is not a big notice, but if I would put stuff on the trailer, and drive now, they would say it's totally legal, I would get arrested right away.
That's awesome.
And of course, you haven't done this yet. No. I would never, officer, I would never do such thing. So yeah, we did that, yeah. And no one died.
Well, that's good. That's very important. You want to keep the band going.
Yeah. But but it's a fucking rock and roll band. It has to have a little bit fucking danger to it, okay?
Yeah. Yep, fits the theme completely.
Yeah.
So good luck with that. And thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me. And And congratulations on your release, Addi. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Angela. Cheers.
Okay.